You're listening to Around Comics. You are listening to Around Comics. You're also possibly watching Around Comics live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Twitch and not TikTok. I could put us on TikTok if wanted to, but
14-second bites.
Yeah,
you can do TikTok live.
You can do TikTok live. Yeah, I don't think they don't offer like a streaming thing yet. You have to do it with your phone. So
I'd have to hold the phone up, while we're doing it.
We'd all three. We could try that sometime. That actually might be funny. Like each
of
us.
Like it might. That's the kind of shit that creates a fracture in the time-space continuum. If all three of us would TikTok ourselves.
Yeah, at the same time, our side of the conversation, and then somehow, meld it together in some Ultron No, all right, forget it. Never mind.
That's how tears in space and time start.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
could be good.
As a Doctor Who fan, I would assume that you don't mind sort of breaking the rules of time and space.
Well, you gotta,
convenient. You need a Time Lord to save you.
Adventure awaits. Yeah, but if you don't create a situation where a Time Lord is necessary,
how do you know?
Yeah. Well, they're never going to show up.
That's why we've never seen one.
Mm-hmm. This here is a Trade Talks episode.
Oh, it is. Wait.
This is our Trade Talk.
This is Chris's Trade Talk.
It is yes, and this is this month we're talking about Ice Cream Man, written by Maxwell Prince, with art by Martin Morazzo or Martin Morazzo. It's an Image comic. This first trade is 4 issues. I had never read it before, so it was kind of a stab in the dark. It's something that looked kind of interesting. So we had
shot in the heart. Sorry, I don't know.
Chris,
this is I don't think it has anything to do with. But have either of you seen the movie, the 1995 movie,
the Clint Howard
Ice Cream Man?
I might have seen it, and then I don't remember any of it. It's definitely something I might have watched at some point in the 90s when I was.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But I don't know if these guys were inspired by that.
For me, it had influences all over the place.
Yeah.
Probably first and foremost, just in kind of art style and the kind of story they're trying to tell. And it's basically a horror anthology.
Right?
Yeah, it's each issue is a separate story, and it has an EC influence because it's very much the EC Tales from the Crypt kind of style. But man, there's a lot of Rizzo and Azzarello influence all over this. I felt anyway.
Well, artistically, it felt like there was moments of that. Yeah, where you definitely had the Rizzo thing, and then with Azzarello, you do have with the Ice Cream Man sort of being the 100 bullets, sort of,
exactly.
Just sort of carrying that
coal.
But I don't know if you could really. Can you really
I'm gonna say that's not the greatest.
Well, it goes further back than that. You know what I mean? Like that having the Crypt Keeper. The Crypt Keeper would be something that obviously, I could see. But I think artistically, there's some influence of
definitely Rizzo influence in there. And from it kind of reminded me of, I don't know, when you guys were growing up, there was a show called Monsters. That was probably on the same network as Tales from the Dark Side, and kind of like that era of late 80s cable horror shows. It kind of had a little bit of that vibe.
Monsters,
a little bit.
Yeah. So
I was a big son of Svengoolie here locally in Chicagoland. He was Still doing it. He's still out there being son of Svengoolie.
Yeah. The Green Bay Svengoolie was Ned the Dead.
Ned the Dead.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
I think he's
Ned
still
the Dead.
around. I mean, but I mean, he was like the local late night horror movie, host, our local.
Those guys are great. Like they don't exist anymore. You know
no,
what I mean?
They're still around.
I mean, they are sort of a relic of a time where not every TV station was owned by like the same 3 companies if you weren't like a network affiliate, now it's
it's also a time where there were way less channels.
You had ABC, NBC, CBS, a PBS channel if you were lucky, and then there were like 2 UHF channels.
But surprisingly, people didn't watch TV 24 hours a fucking day. You know what I mean? Like
nothing was on at night. TV went off.
TV went off. So that's when you could have the local cable guys could have a show, and you had this Elvira's of the world and the Son of Svengoolies and the Ned the Deads and that's where those guys are. And you don't really have that so much anymore. I don't think. Maybe in some more.
There's a famous LA guy in the 70s who I only know because he was at the first Knott's Scary Farm, and I used to work on Knott's Berry Farm as a client. I'll look this guy up. LA.
There's Vampira was one of the original.
Yeah,
obviously.
He was like the Svengoolie of LA.
Well, what was the guy from the Ed Wood movie? Remember the movie Ed Wood, and then
I found it.
There was a local guy that liked that. What's his name?
Sinister Seymour.
Sinister Seymour.
Very nice.
I love that shit. It's so corny and cheesy.
Sinister Seymour, portrayed by Larry Vincent.
That's terrific.
He used to host Fright Night in LA.
Nice.
I guess the most recent one, the one that's probably had that I can think of, is like Joe Bob Briggs. He's probably the last of an era, really. I mean,
the late night cable celebrity.
Yeah, that man, there is. I know I'm just sounding like an old man, but there is definitely something of that era that I miss a lot of things, and this is one of them. The late night. I watched Creature Feature, Son of Svengoolie, any of that stuff, and then on Saturday mornings it would be like Kung Fu Theater and all those kind of things. That's where I got all my.
I mean, maybe the closest thing that still maybe keeps some of that is like Mystery Science Theater, but not quite the same. Yeah, but as the
feeling of it.
Yeah, like a curator of like weird shit, or like movies.
There's a guy named Dr. Gangrene who's in Tennessee. I'm looking up now. Count Gore Duvall. He's in DC. Morgus the Magnificent, or Mormus Morgus the Magnificent. He was all the way up to the 80s. Sharon Needles. She's a drag performer that also does like late night stuff. So yeah,
they're all just trying to be Svengoolie though, man. They're all trying to be
Svengoolie. Well, Elvira, Vampira, the original Svengoolie. Yeah, those guys were awesome. Love that stuff. Anyway, not to go to,
but we have a comic to talk about.
Yeah.
How'd you guys like it?
I thought I thought its biggest problem was that I didn't know which one of these things it was. Like, is the Ice Cream Man the Crypt Keeper, or is he something more, or is he, like I thought it was a really odd. I thought it was also just the horror aspect of it too, because sometimes it's not really horror; it's just like sad.
Yeah,
as opposed to like
that was my biggest problem.
They're
all just like tragic, sorrowful. Like normally in this kind of a story, when you have like someone getting their comeuppance, which is what these basically are, right? They usually do something to deserve it. You know, like, so you don't feel terrible about them.
It's like poetic justice.
Yeah, but in this, it was just like
with a twist, usually, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't
But
much
in this was just, there was no, like, they all are terrible, but they're just normal people who are running into these tragic things. I thought it was like artistically, I really liked it. It was definitely creepy. I thought there was some interesting stories in the 4 stories. I liked the feel of it, but really at the end of the day, it was just like, this is kind of sad. It's just like, you're not giving me anything really to be.
And a strange ending to the 4 issues.
Yeah. And like then they throw in.
Like, actually, the Ice Cream Man's more than just the Crypt Keeper functions as like, it's just like a transition device between things, or a way to wrap things up. Like, there is no.
He's a presenter. He's a
host. There's no story to the Crypt Keeper other than like he exists and he sort of like introduces and leaves, and like that to sort of leave it was like a weird end to leave with, like, actually the Ice Cream Man, there's something more going on, and it's like, well, you didn't tell me any of that.
It almost felt like
it's like what, like okay,
like, oh wait, we're gonna continue this story, so we need to make it more than just these 4 issues. So let's throw some sort of mystery at the end of like, oh, there's more to this. There's maybe this cowboy guy that comes in at the end.
Weird. It just felt like
who the Ice Cream Man is obviously afraid of, in some way.
Yeah. But even within the stories themselves, it seemed like they never felt like complete. Like there was like, well, what's this about? And then like it never quite tells you enough to, like just in storytelling, when you leave on a cliffhanger, like it's not just about like you don't know what's going to happen next. It's like, we've completed this and look what's going to happen next, right? Like there's like a method to how you like build that so that like it's meaningful, or like, oh cool, I do want to see this next thing. I mean, like it just felt really strange. Like I was sort of like, I got to the end and I was kind of like, huh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't dislike it because I think it's done like, it's not written poorly. It's drawn well, but it just
a great way of vocalizing is I didn't dislike it. It's not a great endorsement of it, but I didn't dislike it.
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of how I.
Yeah, and there's parts of every issue where I'm like, oh, okay, like this is going somewhere interesting, but it never quite gets there. It kind of like
the first story, out, you have like 3 different things going on. So you have this kid with a spider, and then you have the cops, which they make you interested in, especially the one cop. Like they give her this funky name, and you think, okay, this story is going to be about this cop somehow, and then it's not, and it's not about the kid really either. It's then the spider goes away, and then it's kind of about the Ice Cream Man, but then it's not, and it was just like,
and he's a werewolf,
maybe, or something.
That was my favorite part of any of the stuff, because I was like, oh, okay, that's a surprise, like
I didn't expect him to be a werewolf.
Whereas with like the second story with like sort of the drug overdose, like there's no twist.
And there's sad. Once again, it's like, it's just sad. Like these poor people that the Ice Cream Man now is going to kill. Because it doesn't give you anything to root for, really. You know what I mean? Like in a typical horror story, like you want someone to survive, or you are at least at the end, if they die, it's like, well, they did something wrong. Like they shouldn't have done that. Then at least there's some sort of justice there. But with this, it's just like, well, this is just tragedy. This is just like a fucking
dad leaving the son, the dad like not knowing his son. Like it was so strange. Like the way it didn't.
And where did they
go
get the body?
Anyway.
Where did they get the body from? It's like they
out
just
of
kind of like walked
broke
up to the casket.
Coffin. Yeah, it was very odd. It was like
was weird.
I had to read it a couple times because I was like, I'm sure I'm missing something that that
Maybe,
would
but
give
I
some
don't.
context to it, but I don't think so. I'm a pretty good reader. I've been told.
Pretty
But yeah,
good
I mean, it
mouth.
was very strange. It was like a strange set of 4 issues. And
Even
then,
the
like,
one, the guy with the guitar, the whole rock and roll rock.
very
it was
weird.
like
That got weird.
out of left field. Like now, just completely different kind of story. That how does this have anything to do with the Ice Cream Man or what? Now the Ice Cream Man's can like go back in time. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't understand the parameters of this Ice Cream Man or what he's capable of. Is he a god? Are you a god?
It always felt like you got about 75% of what you needed to like be like, all right, cool. Like it's like, well, what is he doing? I know he's doing something, but to get to the end of the first trade and not explain that in some way or give some hint to it, it just seems so strange. Because I'll tell you, I'm not reading the next one. It was just. I
am curious if if several of these characters come back in later stories.
There's 5 more volumes of it.
Wow. Okay.
It's been very popular. Like it's been a very popular book.
Maybe it like pulls all the threads together at some point, or it like gets some momentum. Because it was like a weird stopping point. It was a weird way to end an introductory trade of like, here's what this story is about. Like, just felt very strange. It's like, you know nothing about this character, and then here's this other character who doesn't like him. And it's like, I don't care. Like, I don't know anything about this guy. Like, I'm fine. Okay. Like, that seems sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, very like nihilistic. You know what I mean? Like everybody deserves to be horribly, sad. Because there was no redemption in any of it.
Yeah.
It was
very
just
weird.
Weird.
It was like it had like really good setups to like an interesting story, right? It's like, oh, okay, like the guy asking his dead friend's dad about like leaving his family, and like it's like, oh, well, that's like something I've not seen, like this is an interesting conversation, like this is an interesting thing, but then it kind of like goes someplace that just doesn't like pay that off, like it's like you have an interesting setup to all these stories, but then it's like, oh, okay, like I guess that's what we're doing. And then
I guess in some ways maybe they just didn't want to follow convention, because you could see like they're sort of playing with it in the idea of like, well, normally what would happen with this kind of a story is you've seen that, so maybe they're just, but I don't know if it worked or not. It's hard
to say. It's tough to do that and not give anyone a clue, like issue after issue, to like, if you are doing that, then like, now I feel like I'm rewriting the book. If you are doing that, then I feel like you need the Ice Cream Man to like clue you in on that. Like, that the stories aren't, like, something, so that when like you get to the end and you're like, well, nothing happened, like it's not that nothing happened. It's that there wasn't not a satisfying story. And I don't mean that in the sense of like the plot wasn't fulfilled. I mean in the sense that the thing you've set up didn't do anything. Like it just kind of like ends, it's just like in a sad way that has no like, like it does, like it's weird. It's a weird book. I don't know.
Maybe the last story with the guy and the guy who dies, and they go to the funeral and he meets his father, and then there's that weird scene in the middle where he's in hell being tortured, and then they just go back where the dad and the friend exhume the body.
Yeah, I mean,
just, so he can give it a last embrace.
Yeah, but then that's it. Like, okay, so he's still in hell. Like, what? I don't
very
know.
strange. Yeah.
It
I mean,
is
maybe
very-
like the 5th issue, they're like, here's what's
Yeah.
going on. And you're like, I get it. Yeah.
We couldn't fit it in this trade.
Couldn't fit it in, which is strange. This is 4 issues. It's not that even big of a trade. It's
Yeah.
just, it felt like it should have been a 5th issue.
Well, I'm very curious as to what issues 5 and 6 are and why they weren't in the first trade. So maybe it starts off.
You'll have to read it. Maybe that's the thing.
We'll
Maybe
see.
they're just trying to really hook you in with, you know,
a little
They're like,
issue
like these guys are confused as to why this book has gone on as long as it has. We're just gonna keep stringing them along, or maybe it all ties together in some way. I mean,
it's done very well. Like I said, it's been very successful for an Image book. I know it's sold out multiple times. It's like I said, it's on its 6th volume, so it must be selling.
Right.
Yeah, it's doing something right. It's
kudos, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Success.
Maybe we're just too.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. You know, every once in a while you got to throw a dart at the dartboard and see what you hit. And this time I hit Ice Cream Man, and it was not bad.
No, it wasn't. It was interesting. It was well done. It was just something about it. Yeah.
I couldn't every time I read it. I read it. I split it in 2. And then I went back and read like the first issue because I was like, am I like not getting what I'm supposed to be understanding about the Ice Cream Man? You know, and it's like,
I mean, one of the other things, like with some of these setups, like the guy with the guitar, that could be an entire series in and of itself. Like that dude, like trying to save the universe or something, or you know what I mean?
Write a second song,
to write a second song, like that could be a whole series, but it just ends up with him. I guess he was dreaming it in the coffee shop. He had a stroke. What happened to this?
The Ice Cream Man's making him see things, I guess, but I don't know.
Hallucinate?
It's hard to know because they don't give you many clues. They don't give you a lot to work with as a reader, you know, as far as like the significance of what the Ice Cream Man is, you know, like
why so much vanilla ice cream?
If I do have one piece of criticism, it's like, all right, man, if you're gonna have a bunch of characters named after like rock and roll characters,
they were pretty
split up the bands. They don't have to be, you know, like
2 Beatles, 2 David. It's like, come on, like these are the first. Like you couldn't like throw like a curveball in there, somewhere, you know? Like it's like, I'm like, okay, yes, Eleanor and B. I'm, you know, like it was that was one thing I was like, okay.
Yeah, wasn't it supposed to be about rock and roll too? So like,
he's getting ready to go on a fucking Beatles rant.
No, I'm not. I'm just. Hey, listen.
Are we gonna talk? Are we gonna break into Let It Be talk? Are we gonna go into get back?
Yes, I'd love to talk about.
I'd talk about that. Yeah,
I have not seen. Is it worth watching?
If you want to hate all the Beatles, yeah.
You know, it's weird to see famous people like just hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
But they were forced to hang out.
They were forced to hang out. But like
just hanging out.
Like seeing people like, I don't know. Like you don't think of people
they're not performing.
They're just sitting there. Yeah, they're just being there, and like sometimes they're kind of happy with each other, and sometimes they're kind of mad at each other, and like it's very like it's strange. It's like a strange thing because you just don't see that because it's not like
they're not up on stage. They're not. Yeah.
It's like
they're not always
just, like,
sensing that they're on camera. That they're
relaxed. It's like it's in it. To me, it was like kind of interesting. I mean. I don't want to hear. I watched most of it. I heard all of it because my mother-in-law was in town, so she was like watching it because it's like baby boomer catnip, you know. Like I don't need to hear the start to Get Back ever again for the rest of my life. But it's really, I don't know. It was interesting too to like see musicians like write a song, you know, like the idea of like.
I've only seen the first. Actually, I don't even think I finished the first episode yet. I probably like 3.
Oh, I think you'd like the second one more. The second one is when they're like each other.
I plan on going back to it, but
it's just weird to see. You like, I don't know. You hear
them just
songs,
working out a song, and it's just like, well, one of the things, something I read about, which was pretty amazing if you think about it, is like they had 2 weeks to put this album together.
Yeah,
and they're creating all these songs in these 2 weeks, and they have no, like, they're not nervous about it at all. They're just like, okay, we're just gonna make.
We'll just make a bunch of stuff.
The reality is that album didn't come out for like 3 years after they made all these shitty songs, and then no, they even said
they're struggling for a while.
They gave who's the producer? It was
there's
Phil
George
Spector.
Martin. Yeah, Phil Spector on
Phil Spector.
Let It Be. Yeah.
They're like, we gave him a load of shit and he made an album out of it. Like, it was fucking a bunch of garbage. Not garbage, but you know what I mean? For them
at that point.
Yeah.
It's
listen, the Beatles have always lived off their producers.
But it's
I will go to my grave if the Beatles had the greatest producers ever, and that is what made them the Beatles more than anything else. Now, that being said, the Beatles, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, great songwriters. George Harrison, great songwriter. But the reason that they're the Beatles is they're fucking producers.
Two important things about Get Back. The most important thing is that George Harrison, fantastic dresser, next level wardrobe. Like, I'm like, damn, he's breaking out all these, like, he had like when he like parks the car in the second episode, he comes out with like this like cosmic cowboy outfit on with this big like floppy hat, and I'm like, well, shit, George, you know, was not into, you know, material possessions except for like his like fucking
wardrobe.
Sick outfit that like he's got great clothes. There's so like he had amazing clothes. And then like also it's also weird to see famous people get excited. Like they were so genuinely excited when like Billy Preston shows up in the second episode, where like it's like they're like, oh my god, our friend is here. It's like, it was just weird, like, because you don't ever see them
as normal people.
Of like, oh, like, it's cool, our friend is here, you know, like so it was interesting.
So our friend Josh Flanagan from iFanboy had posted on Instagram, I think it was, a clip that he said was his favorite moment of the whole thing, which was the moment, and I haven't seen this moment other than in the clip, but it was a moment where George Harrison basically gets tired of Paul, and he says something like, I'll play whatever you want me to play. Yeah. I don't care what it is. I won't play. I will play whatever. You know, you can just tell he's like fucking sick and tired of Paul McCartney. Yeah. And it's just like people in the thread sort of like, who are obviously George Harrison fans, like sort of, you know, chiming in and saying how sick they are of Paul McCartney and that kind of thing. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but also, like, nothing against George Harrison, but dude, you wrote like 4 good songs.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney's written songs, great songs for 40 fucking years. You might want to listen to him.
George Harrison is definitely 3rd or maybe 4th on the depth chart.
Oh, he's above Ringo. I mean, yeah, I think the
Ringo has his pluses.
The thing about it though is like, the other thing I found compelling about it was that they do obviously like each other. Like, you could tell, like, you when you get to the second episode, there's some pretty wild stuff in there, you know, where it's like,
well, goddamn, I'm gonna have to go tonight and watch the rest of it.
They have like this whole conversation that was recorded between John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and they're like talking about like themselves, like, and it's weird to hear people talk about their own like
they're self-aware,
who are legends at the time, being self-aware of themselves and the things that they do, and being like, hey, listen, you know, like the way we talk to George, like we, you know, being like, that's how, you know, we are obviously, you know, we tell him what to do, and then we get mad when he does it the way he wants to do it, and like we need to you know, we have our own egos, and we need to learn to like let go of that a little bit. And like, it's weird to hear people talk like that, you know, like to be like self-aware, but it's also weird because it's like, you know, to see how people work, right? And you can be like, I've worked with people who are like Paul McCartney, who are like, hey, you know what? When we're here, we're going to like get something done every day, and we're going to work and like ram our heads into the wall until like we figure something out. And it's fucking annoying when like things aren't working, right?
Yeah,
and then you've worked with people like John Lennon, who's just like, well, you know what? I don't fucking feel like working today, so I'm gonna just fucking like railroad everything.
In bed.
Yeah, like guess what?
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything today. We're not doing anything today because I'm just gonna be a dick the whole time, and that's just it. I'm just gonna sulk, and nothing's gonna get done, and we're just gonna like, you're gonna have to just wait until I'm in a good mood. Like, it's just weird to see. Like that aspect of people, like I don't think famous people, you know, of like
those guys. There's no way. One, I don't think you can get to that level of anything without having an incredible ego. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be so self-assured and almost delusional.
You can't be a performer and not have ego. You know, it's like impossible. Like, it's
the relationship with those guys. I mean, they became pop icons in their mid-20s, and this is like 10 years on, and now they're grown-ass men. You know,
they're only 28 years old.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Like, George is like 26. Like, he's like,
but he was what, like 16, 17 when he joined. So he was
13 when he first met them. You know, so he
was always the kid, and now he's a
kid.
grown-ass man,
younger brother,
and he's tired of being treated like a kid.
I don't think. I mean, I think they fought like brothers. They were, you know what I mean? Like they were gonna get on each other's. There's no way you can spend that much time, especially like in a pursuit of something that's got to be so fucking difficult. You know, creatively trying to live up to everything that you've done before, trying to surpass it, trying to evolve, trying to be your own, artist. All those things, you're trying to do all this, and you're doing it with 3 other people, and everybody has a say in it.
Yeah,
every day
with the backdrop of one of the most tumultuous but also creatively free decades of the last century.
Sure,
and you're a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're a fucking bulkhead.
And they're smoking so much.
Yes.
So
everybody smoked. Everybody smoked.
An insane amount of smoking going on. And
I gotta watch the rest of it. I have to.
The people hanging around too. It's like, it's funny. It's just like, I don't know. It was weird. It's weird to watch. It's compelling. It's really boring, but still compelling, because it's really boring to watch them like fucking figure out what the words are to a song, right? Because it's like they don't know. Then it's like, what sounds good?
Hey,
it's got to be D's and B's, dude.
Yeah,
D's and B's, because you can't hear it if it's not a D or a B, And it's like, they're just like, what about this? What about this? What about it? It's like, it's really boring to watch creative people do stuff. It's tedious because they play Get Back like 900 fucking times, right? And they're like, maybe do it this way. I don't know, maybe do it that way, right? And but it's also really compelling because it's weird to see like
creative process,
like legends, like just sort of like fucking around, or like obviously not giving a shit. It's just like sleepwalking their way through something. Like, I don't like, fuck.
Everybody's the same at the end.
It's very human. It's very human. And
everybody has days when they're fucking lazy, an asshole.
Like, I don't want to do this shit. Like, I'm sick of you. Like, I'm not.
Fuck you, Paul. Fuck you, Paul.
Don't talk to me that way.
Shut up, Paul.
We're not going to get something done today, right?
Because he told George, listen, man, if I was George and someone was like, that guitar chord you played was passé, I'd be like, what the fuck does that mean? From the dude who wrote when I'm 64, and like the corniest man. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
I would have been like,
that was a throwback.
I quit. Which he does. He's like, I'm leaving the band now.
I'm done. I'm done now.
This is
I'm like, dude, listen.
But I also get it on the side of Paul McCartney of like, I mean, at this point in time, there is no question Paul McCartney is a genius, a musical genius, a songwriting genius.
But to George, he's just like, oh, fucking Paul. Just
yeah, of course. Fucking asshole. Fucking Paul.
It's just a chord. It's just a chord. We play them all the time. How can it be fucking passe?
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, what does it mean? It's just a chord.
Yeah.
Well, I did feel like there were moments where it felt like Paul was aware he was being recorded. More so than George. Or Ringo. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know about John, but Paul, there definitely seemed like he knows that there's, like
there's a camera running.
There's a camera.
Yeah, and George is just like yawning, and like smoking a cigarette, and he's like, "All right, dude, you want me to play something else? I'll play something else.
I'll be happy to play whatever you want me to play,
or not play. I don't care.
Or not play. I don't care. Yeah, but I don't think that's gonna make you happy."
He was done, huh?
Did you see that part where he played that one song and John's like, "We're a rock and roll band"?
No, I didn't.
And George is just like, "I don't fucking care if you want to use the song." It's just like he's like, I felt really bad for him. It's just like, listen, John, have you listened to you guys' music? Like,
you haven't done rock and roll in fucking 12 years.
Yeah, you just released an album with a Rocky Raccoon on it, and you're like, "Oh, this song's too like
this isn't rock and roll enough."
Like, what the fuck?
They were just making up shit.
Yeah,
to not fucking put George's songs on the album.
Just like, fuck you guys. Like, there's like
he got his one song and album.
There's a moment where they're playing Maxwell Silver Hammer. And they have like the fucking dude playing an anvil with a hammer, and it just like camera pans over to like John, and he's just like he's got this look on his face, like, I can't fucking believe we have
a
like
guy with an anvil.
It's like, what are we doing? Just like a look of just like, because it's so human. Because I've seen that look on a person's face before when they're just like,
what
are we doing? Like, why are we here? Like, why did I get up to come here to do this? So anyway, it's great. It's a great. Yeah. It's one of the. I don't know. Like, I can't think of too many other things that, if you're interested in like creativity or the creative process, that shows it quite so. Like warts and all of like. Trying to make something and like there's not working and then like
there's some good ones. Like, I'm a fan only because at this point in my life I find it hilarious to watch is the Metallica I Am Monster.
I was talking about this because someone was like, well, what's the difference between I was like, the difference between the Metallica one and the Beatles one is eventually in the Beatles one you're like, oh, these guys actually do like each other. And they have some amount of like respect for each other, and like Paul does want to treat George better, and like they are friends. Right, and in the end, it's like, they're friends. Metallica, there's none of that. They all hate.
Do they really?
Well, at this point in time, I mean, during the filming of that, they were not getting along.
Yeah, there's no good days.
There was no, and it was just this misery of trying to put a fucking album together when no one wanted to put a fucking album together. And it's funny to me now because I grew up, I mean, Metallica was like one of my bands. Like that was, it's just like that whole era of music. And, I was one of those guys who was like, fuck all the radio bullshit. I want to hear Metallica. And then when Metallica became popular, it was like, oh, fuck you. What the fuck? Everyone likes this. Yeah, But now it's sort of hilarious because I can laugh at myself, but I can laugh at them because it's like, oh my God, they're such fucking babies. There's such fucking babies in this thing. It's like, Jesus.
There is a moment that's just like the passe moment where I forget who says it to the guitarist, where he's like, that sounds like a stock guitar track.
Yeah.
Which is just like, oh, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Wow.
Just like,
go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But they're all fucking just super rich, whiny.
Oh my God!
Same
And they
thing
just
with
hate. They just
Metallica. Those guys were teenagers when they recorded their first.
For sure.
I mean, they never knew adult life as normal people.
No,
ever.
No.
There is in the Metallica, Some Kind of Monster has there's so much more contempt for each other than in the Beatles one.
Oh yeah,
they truly during the filming
drummer
of that.
Lars Ulrich, his dad is the best. When his dad shows up at the studio at one point and they start playing him the album, and he's like, "I wouldn't release this." He's just like, "This is you're gonna ruin your career. This is not good." He's just fucking does not give a fuck. He's like, "I would not put this out at all.
I wouldn't put this out."
Did they?
Yeah, they did. It was shit. It was garbage. It was not a great.
That's a great movie, though.
It is fun to watch. It's completely different than the Beatles one, but it is fun to watch. The other one that's amazing is the Eagles one.
I've never watched that one.
Oh God, Tom, you should watch it.
Because that's about a band that just dissolves.
But you see it over time. You see it go from these guys that are all like, and I don't remember who it was, a comedian who said it, but he said in the beginning of that documentary, they're all calling each other by their names. So it's Glenn and whatever. Yeah. By the end of it, it's Mr. Fry and Mr. because they're all in lawsuits with one another. And it's just a
Mr.
fucking
Henley.
disaster. Yeah. It's definitely worth watching. It's a goddamn nightmare. I mean, that band just imploded. They just hated each other. I mean, they just fucking hated each other. But yeah,
a lot more venom. When are we gonna get the comic book version of Get Back, where we watch a writer and an artist spend 20 hours arguing with each other?
Image Comics, wouldn't it be Image Comics? Like the implosion of Image Comics, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Which 30th anniversary this year, right?
Is it really?
Can you believe that? Yeah. 30th anniversary.
Yeah, can we go back in time and get film of like Stan and Jack? The arguments that they, just the tense moments when Stan would come in with a bunch of energy. All right, Jack, I got this great idea. And then Jack would just fucking roll his eyes, blow smoke in the fucking air, and draw whatever the hell he wanted.
I feel like this spaceship is passe. Looks like a stock photo.
More big ears, really?
I'm gonna have to watch the rest of that now. I meant to.
You can break it up. It's easier if you don't sit and watch it all.
It's pretty long, right? Like it's like
so long. It's grueling. It's Peter Jackson.
Yeah, it's
Jesus, no wonder.
It's 25% longer than it needs to be. And there's four ending scenes.
Yeah, there's the Beatles. You think it's over, and then the Beatles all hug each other at the end for like 25 minutes, like at the end of Lord of the Rings. It's just like, oh.
Well, hey, if you like this talk about documentaries and TV and all that stuff, you know where you can hear more of that?
On every podcast out there. No, on ACTV.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's our Patreon exclusive show where Sal and I, and eventually Tom, once the Packer season is over, may join us and talk about TV and movies and stuff. Which we're back this week. I'm excited. I want to talk some. I finally saw Shang-Chi, the Ten Rings.
Shang-Chi. What about Hawkeye? You watch Hawkeye?
Shang-Chi?
Yeah, I have.
I watched the first one.
I definitely have thoughts on Hawkeye. I'm 2 episodes in, and
I'll watch it in 6 months, like I do all the Marvel shows.
Once it's wrapped up, I'm watching Yellow Jackets. I want to talk about that with you.
I just finished Captain America. I just finished the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh,
yeah, I just watched Civil War. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Boy, there were. I think that's back when we were doing a single series. We would only talk about a series every week, that episode. And I just remember Falcon and Winter Soldier as being a roller coaster where there were like 2, maybe 3 episodes in that series that you're like, oh, this is just not good. And there were like 3 episodes that you're like, this is some of the best TV I've seen in years.
Yes.
No.
I'm watching Yellowstone, so I'm gonna buy a 10-gallon hat and a Ford F-150.
Yeah.
Go driving around the suburbs thinking I'm a cowboy. Like every other asshole that fucking lives nearby me.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of fake cowboys out there.
Oh my! Just pickup truck, suburban pickup truck, like the guys with the biggest fucking pickup trucks. It's like you live in the suburbs,
and they've never been off of an asphalt road.
No,
ever.
Just
yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah. So anyway, ACTV, it's part of our Patreon lineup, which you can find out more by going to
Wheel of Time.
Have you seen it? Did you like it?
I watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it.
I will. Okay. I'll get back. I watched like the first 15 minutes.
Better than
not in that headspace. So
it takes a little time.
Yeah.
But
foundation.
Not as long and much better. Foundation. No. No. Yeah. By the end of the first episode, if you're not into it, then don't go any further.
Okay. Yeah.
But by the end of the first episode, you should be into it.
All right. So yeah, patreon.com/comics. Patreon.
Are we wrapping up? Is this the end?
No. This is the middle.
Okay, just checking.
Stuff. But you did mention that we have a Patreon to give a shout
out. Yes, we have a new patron this week. So thank you. Give a shout out to Braxton Harrison.
Really?
Yeah, Braxton, an old friend of the show.
Oh, he just warmed my cockles.
Yeah, good old Braxton. He's a good man. He is a good man. But you can be like Braxton and join us on patreon.com/aroundcomics and get some bonus content there.
Yeah. And you can also contact the show by emailing us at info@aroundcomics.com. You can call and leave a voicemail at 1-312-967-6282. And I think we have a voicemail.
We do have a voicemail. Here we go. You want to hear the voicemail? All right, tell me if you can hear this. I don't know if you're.
Is it about my extended warranty?
Shit, I should have done that. That would have been
Medicare enrollment.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm not as old as you, so I don't get that.
Can you guys hear that?
No,
can't hear it.
I can hear.
Oh, hold on.
Okay,
hold on. I know I got to change.
Production.
No, I forgot I had to change something on my end in order for you to hear it. Hold on just a second, and I will change it. There we go. All right, now I think you'll be able to hear it. Let's see.
The loud tone. This is Joe G.
Can you hear it now?
Yep.
All right. From West Virginia. Yes, I'm old. It's okay. I don't mind. Just wanted to call in to give you guys a voicemail. I know it's about, let's see, 3 hours before airtime, your time. So you might not get to it today. No problem.
We got to it, Joe.
Surprise.
For keeping the broadcast going. I've been out 5 weeks. I'm back to work this week. But I had surgery, but I prepared. I wasn't supposed to do any lifting. I had surgery on my neck. No big deal. It's over, and it seems to work.
Joe, we're not your grandpa.
But I prepared. Dog food, cat food upstairs where I could reach it and wouldn't have to lift it. And food for me and my wife. And
I hope he brings up my car warranty.
For me, I've been doing a bunch of reading the past 5 weeks.
Yeah, here we go.
Mark Wade Dick, and also James Robinson. Complete Starman again.
Oh, okay.
Good choice.
Hardcover omnibus, and Mark Wade's Kingdom Come, of course. But I also broke down and had the old Ruse comic book, R-U-S-E.
Ooh. Yeah, Mike Perkins? No, Mike Perkins? Was he on Ruse?
And Also read JLA Year One from Mark Waid from Augustine. And I just wanted to throw a question to you. What is your favorite Mark Waid book, not counting Kingdom Come? Not
the only
and
one.
What would be your favorite James Robinson book, not counting Starman?
Oh.
I do know,
I'll have
of course,
to look it up.
Golden Age, which is excellent. But there's a little known, lesser known, older work that James Robinson I was introduced to in called Firearm from Malibu, which I really like. That's what introduced me to James Robinson. Also, Leave It to Chance. But I've been doing a bunch of reading, and I don't know if you got something that's a favorite old read that you like to go back to. I would suspect Queen and Country from Chris, or Tom, Legion of Superheroes, Secret Society of Supervillains.
Yeah.
Oh, Ruse. All right, now I remember.
It's Butch Guys. Butch Guys inked by Mike Perkins.
That was a cross-gen book.
Yeah. That's
book.
why Perkins still lives in Tampa, is because he moved down there to be a part of their bullpen, because they wanted to have like a full bullpen. He moved down there. CrossGen went out of business, and he stayed there. He still lives down there.
I don't know. I think he might have ran out of time there. I don't know if it limits how long you can go, but yeah, I don't know. Mark Waid. I don't know if I can, like, other than Kingdom Come, I'm not sure what I could even name. Honestly,
The Flash would be my favorite.
Flash stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I really liked his Daredevil run with Somni.
Yeah.
Brave and the Bold, that run that he did with George Perez. Those were really fun.
Yeah, those are cool.
I liked his Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago when he did that, but I liked when he was doing Fantastic Four. Was pretty good. He's one of those writers that is just like solid, workman. Like, obviously Kingdom Come has to be his.
He's like the Rod Carew of comic book writers. He's always going to have a high average and do everything okay, but it's Rod Carew.
Well, yeah, I just don't know how many things I would be able to point to and be like,
Yeah.
James Robinson. Anything JSA that he's done.
Yeah.
But I don't know off the top of my head, what.
Well, he did the original miniseries that kind of launched the. Was it JSA? What was the? It was kind of the lead-in to the ongoing that he ended up handing off to Johns.
Yeah, it was the one that
Paul Smith art in that.
Are you thinking of the Golden Age?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was. Justice League Golden Age, Justice Society.
Yeah, the Golden Age.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, outside of like Starman.
I love his Stargirl work.
Mm-hmm. I like his screenplay for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
He had some good Jimmy Olsen stories.
Mm-hmm.
I think his karaoke needs work.
Yeah.
Terrible karaoke singer. I remember that.
Bad singer.
And violent. He was a violent drunk. That's all I can say about him.
Oh,
he was a violent.
He
He was definitely violent.
he was agitated.
He was violent.
Yeah, so Mark Waid, James Robinson. Any other questions in there?
No, I think that was it. Those two.
All right.
Mark and James are our favorites.
Yeah. Thanks for making me remember Ruse. I may have to. I've got those cross-gen comics.
It was like a Sherlock Holmes-y kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really pretty. Yeah, it was really. I remember it being a very pretty book. So, so thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
It's always good to think about cross-gen occasionally.
CrossGen was like the great experiment that those guys, they threw a shit ton of money at it, trying to really do something cool, and they did some awesome books for a while, but it was not sustainable.
Yeah,
for whatever reason. I don't know if it was business reasons or just the industry or what it was, but they did some cool shit. I liked a lot of CrossGen books, and
I think they ran out of money. That's what happened.
Well, yeah, but why? You know, was it just the industry? You know, sort of a downturn? Was it, bad business decisions? A combination of both? I don't know.
That sounds like a great Comics 101 episode.
Oh God, the rise and fall of CrossGen.
Right. That would actually be interesting. I may have to
look. I'm sure we could get some guys on to talk that have actually worked at CrossGen.
Yeah, that would be. Well, Wade was one of them, right?
Yeah. Let's see. CrossGen. Let's see who else was in here. First Wave. Oh, that's just telling me the books. Sigil.
They had a nice lineup of comics. I remember. Gosh, they had a fantasy title that was pretty good.
Sojourn,
yeah,
with Greg Land.
That was before like super photo reference Greg Land.
No, it was pretty still photo referencey, but
not as much as it would become later.
Yeah. You had Mystic, Sigil, Scion, Meridian, The First, Crux, Sojourn, Ruse, Negaton.
The Way of the Rat. I remember Way of the Rat.
Chimera. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in 2004.
Huh. I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. So they had a 4-year run, 2000, 2004.
Yeah, there was some cool stuff in there for sure. No doubt.
Nice.
No doubt. I read a cool book this week other than Ice Cream Man, if you guys want. It was Mark Miller book called King of Spies from Image Comics. It's the first issue. The art by the wonderfully talented Matteo Scalera, who is one of my favorites. It's a fun book. It's a setup like Miller does. I think just as good a job as anybody. Is sort of a concept and a setup, and then it's just sort of cleanly writing a book and paying it off. Like he doesn't try and get tricky necessarily. He doesn't try and be too clever.
He knows how to stick a landing.
Yeah, he just gives you a solid fucking comic book, and this is an interesting one. It's basically this character. I think his name is what's his name? It's something King. Roland King. And he's essentially James Bond. Or at least he was in the 60s. And now he's like 62-year-old and dying of cancer and kind of retired at this point. And he's sort of having not a midlife crisis, but an end-of-life crisis. He finds out some bad news that he has a tumor. And he also just sort of like is reflecting on his life and realizing that he didn't make much of it other than being James Bondish, like going around and saving the world and fighting bad guys and sleeping with all sorts of women and, being in casinos and that kind of shit. And at the end of the day, like, because it's now, he basically is like, what the fuck good did it all do? Like, what, I thought I was fighting for king and country, queen and country and sort of society and to help people, and we're worse than maybe ever. Like, what good did any of this do? And so he decides, with whatever time he has left, that he is going to take care of the bastards that are out there and just start wiping.
Now it's a Mark Miller comic.
Exactly.
Mark Miller comic.
Yeah. And there it is. Like he runs into these sort of Russian mobsters and takes them all out in a bar, and then he's like, "Yep, this is what I'm gonna do the rest of my life. I'm just gonna go after all the fuckers that are out there."
What's the name of the book again?
It's called what the hell is it called? Shit,
King of
Spies. The King of Spies.
I'm absolutely gonna check that out. Yeah.
Great fucking art. Matteo Scalera is awesome.
He's a boss. Yeah.
Oh, he's so good. He's so good. He's up there with like, he reminds me a lot of Murphy, Sean Murphy.
Yeah.
He just has that, like, everything looks super cool, and he gives it tons of energy and great.
And it's him. You know it's Scoro whenever you see the page. Yeah, he's not a copycat of anybody else.
No. It's a fucking good comic book. Like, that's all. Like I said, there's nothing tricky here. This isn't anything obtuse or you have to think about real hard. This is gonna, it's like, here you go. It's an old James Bond. He's gonna go kill a bunch of people.
Nice.
There you go.
Which we'll have to talk about it on Sunday. I finally got around to watching No Time to Die.
Oh yeah.
So we can talk Bond. So.
James Bond.
James Bond.
I have so many emotions now. I'm full of emotions. I can't.
Well, I wanted to talk Human Target, but I don't think that Tom has read it yet. Human Target number 2.
Nope. Save it for next week.
Let's save it for next week because you're going to be you're more of the JLI fan of the three of us, so I'm very interested to kind of hear your take on a lot of this.
All right, I'll read it. We'll talk next week.
Nice. All right. Are we good? Are we done?
That's all. Unless we want to talk more music documentaries. I got a couple of
music talk.
We'll save that for ACTV and see if
documentary.
Yeah, we'll start our documentary spinoff. So thanks to Braxton for becoming our latest patron. Appreciate that. Thanks for Joe G for sending in a voicemail. Love that. Love your emails, love your voicemails, etc.
Love you, man. Love you.
Yep. Patron, happy holidays. We'll be back next Thursday. We're Thursdays here for the foreseeable future. We'll be back on Thursday, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. In the meantime,
when the sleigh bells are ringing, I'm sorry.
We'll be everywhere.
Happy
comics.
And around comics. Chris doesn't like holiday music.
I don't hate holiday music. I'm still alive in the Little Drummer Boy, though.
What?
The Little Drummer Boy challenge?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. No idea what you're saying. I don't think
it's to see how long you can go without hearing the song Little Drummer Boy. That doesn't count.
My drum. How does that not count? You just heard it.
Doesn't count.
What do you win? A grumpy attitude? Is that
pretty much
coal in your stocking?
Yeah.
You get a little coal.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to be honest about it. You let people know whenever you tap out.
With who? Other curmudgeon-y people that.
Other curmudgeon-y people that
don't want to hear
that try and stay away from Christmas music.
Show's over, guys. We finished.
Google it. It exists. It's a thing.
No, I don't want to. Horrible people. Just terrible. Awful. Pum pum pum.
Right
Me
now.
and my